so it's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited's Group Executive Director, Mr. Kaide Komolafe. KK.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Happy
KK.
Sunday.
Good morning, Steve.
Happy Sunday to you, KK.
We miss Oji and
Kachi
today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oji is out of town on the holiday. Kachi, as you know, is standing in for Oji on the daily.
Okay.
Busy period for her.
Yeah.
Okay, we go into the review of the papers. We'll start with This Day on Sunday, the newspaper of record. And of course, we'll start with the lead story, which is a constant feature in practically all the newspapers today. And This Day captures it this way. Trump, Macron, Starmer, other world leaders bid final farewell to Pope Francis. And the riders, hundreds of thousands, witness funeral. How first non-European Pope in almost 13 centuries requested for simple burial. And the cover story, running across all the columns of the paper, the caption says, world leaders stand still for Pope Francis. And we see the protocol being respected largely, except of course for the blue right in the middle. The blue will look like an American thing, isn't it? Trump, Biden, and a bit of the UK. And the prince who represented his father, the king. And of course, we have still in Rome our own dear Adefemi Akinsoya doing a brilliant job bringing in all the juicy stories from Rome and the Vatican. Okay, a few other stories on the cover of This Day. The second lead there says, Edun Cardoso, Tinubu's reforms have restored investors' confidence, stabilized FX market. And they are also hailing Nigerians' resilience, saying that federal government targeting single-digit inflation, protection of purchasing power. Shetima seeks international collaboration to advance Nigeria's human capital development strategy. I believe that the Finance Minister and the CBN Governor spoke at the ongoing, or it had just ended, in Washington, the World Bank IMF meetings that is always happening around April. So that story is on page 5 of today's This Day. And then on page 8, APC will soon implode, says Wabara. I believe that's the former Senate President there. He's a member of the...
Former Senate President, current chairman of the PDP.
Oh, yes. The chairman of the board or something?
Yeah.
BOT.
Of the Board of Trustees of the
PDP.
Yes.
Senator Wabara. And last but not the least is the story on the window. In show of public confidence in banking system, customers' deposits in 10 banks hit 140.97 trillion naira in 2024. That's on page 5 of today's This Day. Show of public confidence. When we talk about the issues affecting the economy, we must also reflect the area where considerable strength and confidence has been shown.
I have to ask, is it confidence if it's just a nominal value increase?
That's what the story says, but of course you can interrogate it. KK, those are the stories on the cover of This Day today.
KK, I can't lie, I really need you to speak on APC will implode. I need to hear your perspective.
Place a bet.
I need to hear your perspective.
Okay, then I should plead that we should divide it when we review other newspapers.
That are also dealing with issues, yes.
So that's
I get your point.
especially the front page stories of other newspapers.
I see that in
so that we have a
in
of touching other newspapers and not only
This
Day. So we'll take it when we review other newspapers.
Okay.
Yep, I think the story, of the day is still the passing of the
Pope Francis. Pontiff.
The pontiff, Pope Francis. I think with the funeral, which we watched yesterday again, is a reminder. It's a reminder of the essence of moral capital. Because since his passing, I mean, nobody has been talking about his estate. Nobody has been talking about how much it left behind in terms of, material, capital, but the immense capital, which he left behind, demonstrated by the responses, from all over the world, eulogies, paid to him, that even and such has been his immense moral force, that even those who might not have agreed entirely with his positions on many issues while he was alive, have been paying eulogies to him, acknowledging his positions, on migration, his defense of the poor, migrants, and standing for world peace, and justice, in various areas, I think his exit should actually be a teachable moment, not just for the Catholics, but for all human beings, that here was a moral force, that appear in the, on the global, firmament, and that its impact, will endure, for quite, a long time to come, because of what he represented, because of what he said, because of what he did, and actually, using, and again, that finally, that his life, again, is a reminder of this, the importance of the force of example.
Yes.
That his life, the way he lived his life, he said, was, perhaps more resonant, than the preaching, That is his life, you could see the force of example, the simplicity, and again, capping it up also with the, the simplicity and the humility, demonstrated in his funeral. To have had about 250, people, attending the funeral. That was, quite. 250,000, attending the funeral. That was quite.
More than 60 world leaders or thereabouts?
160.
160 world leaders.
Yes, and 250, people attending the funeral. I think that was quite significant, putting it. Like I said, the political story, let's take it to the other newspaper.
Okay.
Maybe we'll just take the two economic stories.
Yes.
Yes, good news, from the banking sector, but then I think we are still, still far away from achieving the objective of financial inclusion. Yes, the deposit might have hit 140, a trillion,
in nominal value.
In nominal value, and then people. But what I'm saying that that the real challenge, of the sector is that to have, financial inclusion, to have more people, actually embracing, the banking system or being included, but the percentage is still, very very low. So I think that's another angle, to look at it. While it is positive, as you have acknowledged, Steve, but also that the drive towards, financial inclusion should still continue. And I agree with you that it's just at the nominal value. Yeah, the economic managers, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, as well as the CBN governor, have been, presenting the reforms, before the world, and also showing the areas of progress. But like the critics will say that their job is well cut out for them. The first quarter is gone. We still have three more quarters, and that a lot has to be done.
Yeah.
Especially in the next 3 quarters, in terms of economic management, to actually see the delivery, in the critical areas, and then also to the metrics now that you be able to measure it, in terms of improvement, the quality.
Single-digit inflation rate will be one of the, and that's what they are promising.
So you have something to hold, them onto, so that maybe by the end of this year, when the review is made, it may not be in the IMF or World Bank meeting, but now it will be within the Nigeria on the I mean, in the minds of Nigeria, and also
and to also speak to the projections of the 2025 budget.
Budget, yeah.
Because without that, it will be tough to realize
realize it.
Yes.
So the optimistic projection is,
Yeah.
quite in order and quite legitimate. But again, it's also a challenge. That they just have to roll up their sleeves, to meet, the targets.
Right. Okay, should we look at
this day style quickly before we go to the rest of the newspapers?
Yeah.
So let's pull up this day style, because on the cover of this day style is a beautiful cover. Today we have Ndidi Okonkwo Nwuneli, who has worn many hats. She's an entrepreneur, author, policy thinker, and global advocate. And it says that her most defining role might be that of a relentless builder of ecosystems, legacies, and lives. She is now the president and CEO of the One Campaign, and she is leading the charge for global justice and equity, using her voice to demand the kind of investments that will change the trajectory of nations, especially in Africa. And she, I believe, is celebrating her 50th birthday, and it's absolutely a beautiful cover there and a beautiful pictures inside. And also inside this day style today, we also have the celebration of Emeka Ihedioha's 60th birthday in Abuja, where there were quite a few political heavyweights in attendance. Yes,
that's cool.
So
Beautiful package
to Ndidi and to Emeka Ihedioha,
yes.
in areas.
Okay, like you said, KK, a number of the newspapers are quite heavy on political discourse. Sunday Telegraph, Sunday Punch, Sunday Vanguard. And I think we could, briefly look at the cover so that you can add that to what Senator Wabera is saying on the cover of this day. This is the way Sunday Telegraph captures it. 2027, Tinubu takes on Atiku, El-Rufai, others. As president builds national alliance, targets ex-VPs, allies. Why Southeast must join queue by Deputy Speaker. And then gunmen distraught pro-president. FCT ministers rally in Yenagoa. That Bayelsa rally has been problematic, talked about one. And then a brief one on Anambra. Anambra 2025, 34 jostle for running mates as churches position to determine candidates. That's the Anambra election coming up later this year, I believe in November.
Yes. On the Sunday Vanguard. Yeah, the Sunday Vanguard, we have Delta defections unsettle Osun, Anambra, Abia, Enugu, and Plateau. The writer there says Rivers is next bullseye, Akwa Ibom unclear, Edo Cross River in Tinubu's kitty. Alarm in Ibori's camp as Oborewori and Okowa negotiate with the APC. And I have no plan to defect from the Labour Party. That coming from Governor Oti in response to rumours.
Of Abia State,
yeah.
Of Abia, yes.
Yeah.
Governor Oti of Abia State, yes.
Let's add punch to it so that you can take them all together. The kicker is 2027. Tinubu's counterattack scatters opposition. Parties allege inducements. Blackmail amid defection gale. How Tinubu turned tide against opponents. A few other interesting stories on JAMB, and many of the students will be going for their JAMB exams, I believe tomorrow morning. I don't understand the idea of 6:30 a.m., for people of 15, 16, 17-year-old, being requested to come to their centers, at 6:30 a.m. That's something that JAMB should look at. But then Punch says JAMB nabs 40 impersonators as parents decry exam resumption time. And then there's a revelation on page 3 of the paper, terror roots behind Nigeria's rising bloodbath. That's on, on the routes that terrorists are using in coming to Nigeria. If you add that to police rescue 84 trafficked Congolese in Oyo, that's also on page 6 of today's Punch. And last but not the least, my twins must not bring another SS child to the world. That's a sickle cell patient talking there. I think that's to draw awareness, to young couples who are marrying, the need to check your compatibility as far as genotype is concerned. And that's on the cover of Punch. But of course, it's politics, mainly Tinubu's counterattack scatters opposition. Your thoughts, KK?
Yeah. So maybe we'll take the strip on this day, along with the front page, front pages of other newspapers that you have.
Will soon implode, says Wabara.
Yeah. Maybe on that, maybe just say that Senator Wabara should worry more about why PDP should not disintegrate, and should worry less about whether APC implodes or not, and let APC, tackle its own problem. But that's on a lighter note, But it just shows that is indicative, of the mood. But I think what we should reflect on properly is this bogey of one-party state, which, for practical purposes, is baseless. There are 18 registered political parties in this country. So by law, the 18 registered political parties will be qualified in 2027 to present candidates, in all the levels of election, including the presidential elections. So if by law, by constitution, by procedure, you have 18 parties, that are qualified, so what is the basis of this bouquet that Nigeria is going to become a one-party state? That is number one. Number two, what is there in liberal democratic theory that says that is the duty of the party in power to organize opposition against itself? What I'm saying is that, people talk, is basically, criticism, because, you could be critical of APC, be critical of Tinubu, but is it the business of Tinubu to organize the opposition parties? What is there in the Nigerian constitution that gives the party in power or the president in power, to organize the opposition? So I think, to me, the argument is so absurd, So let me just finish. Even some even say that no, Tinubu should allow opposition to thrive. Tinubu should not. Most of the opposition. It is not. The opposition thriving. Operating is not a favor to be given by the party in power or the president in power. It is the constitutional right and duty of those parties, to organize properly as parties and fight for power.
Yeah, but can I ask you a question about that? Because of this right there.
So that's why I say this. It's just mere bugbear, when you talk of one-party state. There is nothing, that approves it. And finally, that the third element, to it is that the opposition party, just as the party in power, that at this period, see that what we should be talking, what should be talking about, are the various policy options, to solve, the problems, at hand, and not just be talking, about the...
Yeah, but the governors that are defecting are not talking about...
but can I have a question?
They are defecting.
I want us to go back to something you brought up earlier, because we're talking about...
That's why I said, let me just... I'll just round up now. That I said that for all the parties, I say both the party in power and the opposition party, that we insist that, we should be having debate, on policy, because we have problems and we need, different perspectives, different policies, to solve them. But we're just indulging just in discussing ambitions of people, the alignment.
Is that an ambition when the governor in Delta State moves from, after 26 years?
I want us to talk about this, because we're talking about, opposition. It's not the government's role to make sure the opposition thrives. But I wanted us to bring it back to the Punch rider, because the Punch rider says the parties are alleging inducements and blackmail. And I think that is what we're talking about here, because we're not talking about people are just jumping for funsies or you should let them have a picnic and have a fun time. No. If they're saying that they are using, because there have been allegations, just like Professor Usman made, that they are using the state apparatus to quieting dissenting voices or to blackmail politicians to join the main party. Now that is a problem, even with, considering our constitution and liberal democracy. It's not about, should opposition thrive or whatever. I think it's about the point, using state power, money, or security apparatus to bend people to join a party, as is being alleged here, is a crisis, is a problem.
If you have a former governor, a two-term governor, and a vice presidential candidate suddenly dumping his party and running to the other party, that gives room for speculation.
After an EFCC investigation.
EFCC case. And if you add that to what Akiti, the late Akiti, Rotimi Akeredolu, an APC governor who passed on, sadly, said about the worry of having a one-party state. That video is still going viral now. This is what makes people to say that it shouldn't be encouraged, even if it is not the duty of the president or the main party to organize the opposition. The president came from an opposition and therefore should not be seen to be stifling, opposing voices. I think that's what people are saying, not to.
Thank you, KK,
But what you also add is that when people leave their party for another party, they have not violated any law.
No, they haven't.
Okay.
If they're not, in government.
All right.
If they're not in government.
And if we are not threatened to move. Okay, that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching and do stay safe. We also thank KK very much. I'm Steve Ayorige.
Thank you so much, KK, for joining us. I'm Adesu Agiwa from our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful Sunday morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.